Hello and welcome to Paris Set Me Free mini photo tutorials. Have a look at a good quality version of this picture on the blog at parissetmefree.blogspot.com. Have a look at this. Worthy of some old French seaport in some little village hidden away somewhere, don't you think? Well, this site isn't called Paris Set Me Free for nothing, and it's in Paris. In fact, it's just opposite the Eiffel Tower on the Trocadero side. Oh yes, Paris is an extremely lived-in city. All the typical Parisian buildings are apartments, and as well as offices. It's extremely lived in, and it's also floated on. There's loads of boats which have moorings all the way along Paris, including some very, very lucky ones absolutely at the foot of the Eiffel Tower. And you see stuff like this, which is the sort of thing you would be looking for in little fishing villages hidden away on some windy coast, and in fact right in the middle of the city you've got this. I took a few of these. Let me show you. There's another one. There's another one. Another one. Another one. Now, what are we thinking of and what am I thinking of as I'm taking these shots? Well, just have a look at a couple of things. The position of this big blob, this big blobby mooring post in the photograph, left, right, more to the top, more to the bottom, and also look at the background and the colours. Here, it's taking up the right-hand side of the photograph, nicely grounded there, got the chain, and there's a bit of space above it. You've got the red boat there and the green boat there. Round portholes are very boaty, and there they are in the shot. Similar, this is slightly more towards the centre. You've got more of this, you've got this window here which wasn't in the last shot. You've lost a porthole there. Here you've got a nice shape, almost a kind of wave. This is slap bang in the middle. You've got the red rising up to the pole there, and you've got the green rising up to it that way. So there's a certain symmetry there, which is nice. You can see a bit of the skyline as well, a bit of the Paris. That looks like the tunnel which the RER going to Paris Champ de Mars Eiffel Tower goes through. So there's a bit of Paris skyline in that one. Similar there. Right off to the right again. A bit fuzzier. These boats look a bit fuzzier than this one. Just compare with this. There's no window there, and in this one, like, spot the difference, isn't it? And then in this one, there's a bit of window, and that one's almost touching the side there, whereas this one isn't. Final one, completely different. Way off to the right, left. Green boat's completely disappeared. This is the bank of the river. There's the typical Parisian trees on the river walk of the Seine. And there's a very tense rope here going off out of the picture, leaving the picture, which is probably attached to the green boat. That worries me slightly, the fact that something is pulling this and I can't see what it is, and it goes out of the photograph in a kind of awkward way. You can almost see this. It's almost as this is leaning slightly this way, pulling against the tension here, and it annoys me that I can't see what is actually happening there. So I didn't use that one. This is the one I used. It was the one that I was hinting that I liked. You've got 2.5 portholes there. You haven't got the other window there, which distracted me slightly. You've got the red of the other boat complementing beautifully the green. Red and green go very well together. Strip of yellow, why not? I wasn't going to repaint the boat. Gorgeous texture on those. Look at those ropes. You can see the little threads there, look, hanging off the rope as where they've been frayed, and constant fraying against this as they're pulled against the boat, and that almost makes you think of the sound. If you know the sound of a rope which is holding a heavy boat, as the boat sways and the rope kind of goes. Then there's the chains at the bottom, and this rope coming out of the corner of this picture. Look at that, lovely. Now let me just show you the original. It wasn't that one. I think it was this one. Yeah, I think it was this one. Here This bit here, I got rid of this strip here. Didn't want it. Didn't do anything for me. Look, that goes off out of the corner there, but doesn't touch the bottom. Whereas in this one, it links to the bottom. It closes that corner very, very nicely. I didn't chop it so much that I lost the chains, because in another photograph, there weren't any chains at all. Look, you've lost the chains. Why lose the chains? The chains are great. They're absolutely, rusting, lovely sort of mishmash of links there. Didn't want to lose those at all, but didn't want too much of this. Wanted to raise the eye by chopping off the bottom. Even here, chopping off a little bit of the bottom, ending up with this. Now the sun was luckily behind me, and it was a desperate fight to finish the photograph before the sun ran out and went down. So although I have increased the colours slightly, the fundamental fact is the low sunlight was lighting these very, very nicely. So you've got soft shadows, you've got beautiful detail, and ropes. Well, what can I say about ropes and chains? Detail is absolutely lovely. I was talking about the rope going out of the picture, which was troubling me. Well, it became that, in fact. I think if I look at the original, it started with having an entire loop there, which could have been nice, but no, I wanted to make this what you might call foreground interest. Funny, I was talking about that with one of my students a couple of days ago, foreground interest, and there's a classic example. And if the foreground interest can link to the background interest, it's even better. So I didn't want this, literally, a classic composition. You can see that there's ropes, but you can't see that it's just touching the edge, but you can't see something straining out of the picture, which is good. You can see this one straining, mind you, but what can you do? And there is a boat there, so you imagine that maybe attaches to one side of that boat. This one giving lovely, it's almost like an arm, a lazy arm, or even a chopped off arm coming towards you there. The chains, the wonderful soft orange secondary colour linking with the soft green, and the green and the red working extremely well together as well. Look at this chain. Goes down, it's fuzzy, goes down into the water, and you can almost imagine that it goes down, up, and becomes this chain here. As I'm in some sort of ecstasy about this photograph, can't think of anything else to say. I haven't included the bank of the river, or if I have, that's it. So to all intents and purposes, it's just a blur. The boat goes into the distance there and effectively closes the frame. You can see a bit of machinery there, which is dark. You've got a dark wheel, and it's fuzzy. I used a large aperture, a wide aperture, so that this was as sharp as I could possibly get it. Even the rusting on the post here and here is quite sharp. And this is fuzzy, but be careful, not so fuzzy that you lose the detail. Any fuzzier than that, and I think you would have lost some of the charm, because you want to see that it's boats, you want to see the portholes, and you want enough of the colour, the richness and saturation of the colour to come through, that it speaks. It says to you boats, river, port, creaking ropes, peeling paint, and all the rest of it. So that's a photograph that I was very pleased with, and perhaps not the sort of photograph you would imagine finding in Paris, but of course you can. You can find everything in Paris. Almost everything. So there it is. The banks of the Seine, very worth walking along, keeping your eyes open, squatting down. Forgot to say, I squatted down. Squat down, and you get this becomes much more prominent. If I'd taken this, and it was quite painful, I can even remember my thighs killing me. But if I'd stood up, I wouldn't have got this. With this in the background, I'd have been looking down here and seeing probably some murky water and old bottles floating around in the water there. So I've eliminated the space between the boats and the edge of the bank there by squatting down. That's it. Thanks for visiting. See you next time in Paris. Bye-bye.
Depuis que je suis à Paris, le jour et la nuit, je suis gris. J'ai compris la douceur de vivre. Je suis fou de joie, je suis ivre. Depuis que je suis à Paris.